You know, one of the things that I know that the president's supporters absolutely love is that he has been arguing since he first ran 10 years ago that he's going to end forever wars and put America first.
Yeah.
Now he says he's running Venezuela. He's totally open to putting boots back on the ground there. And he's signaling that Cuba and Colombia could be next. How is that America first?
I mean, look, I trust the president to make decisions that are in the best interest of Americans, of our country. This president gets results. I think when you have a guy who's not recognized as the head of state, who's head of a narco-terrorist criminal operation, who's cozying up to Iran and China, and he's doing it right here in our hemisphere, bringing that individual to justice, I think that's a good thing. Most Americans think that's a good thing. And that's consistent with keeping drugs off the streets. I know folks in the 4th District of Ohio and what fentanyl and other drugs have done to some families that I get the privilege of representing.
But fentanyl
helping deal with that,
Venezuela.
I think is a good thing. And Americans recognize this for decisive action that makes a difference for us and, frankly, for Venezuelans.
Right. You know, fentanyl doesn't come from Venezuela. And there's definitely...
Cozying up to China and Iran, which are part of that, certainly does.
But again, cozying up to China and Iran, talking about what matters on the world stage, is different from what most people who voted for Donald Trump heard him say, which is, I'm going to focus on Americans, Dan, I'm going to focus on groceries, I'm going to put American dollars.
And President Trump has done that. President Trump said he'd cut taxes, he did. President Trump said he'd secure the border, he did. President Trump said he'd get men out of women's sports, he did. President Trump has said he'd lower gas prices, he did. President Trump said he'd make sure Iran did get nuclear capability, he did. He did all those things in 1 year's time. That is certainly making America great again. That is certainly consistent with what he said. And getting a bad guy brought to justice who's had a 5-year arrest warrant, that is certainly consistent with that theme and that message as well. So I think the American people appreciate that. And frankly, I think that's the message we go tell the American people in this midterm election. President Trump and Republicans did what we said we would do.
How are they going to feel